It's the old Doctor Who show, episode number 27, The Androids of Tara.
Go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine. You couldn't control my mind before, and you certainly can't control it now.
Would you like a jelly, baby?
The TARDIS, when working properly, is capable of many amazing things.
Reverse the polarity of the neutron flows, and the TARDIS will be free of the force field.
But the TARDIS is more than a machine, Stephen. It's like a person, you see.
The resulting reaction describe it. Are you ready?
Welcome back to the old Doctor Who show, your classic online Doctor Who review podcast. I am your host, Eric Grissom. What?
I'm your other host, Dan, and I'm wondering, if this wasn't online, what the heck form would this be?
It could clearly be quarterly magazine of some kind that you could subscribe
Reviews
to.
by mail?
A newsletter. Could be something where you have to get so many box tops and send away for a review.
So we're kind of like the Cracker Jack surprise of Doctor Who review podcasts.
Well, it's better than the time that I said online, offline, because that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, we are both, you and I. Hey, Eric.
So how are you today, Dan?
I'm doing great. I'm up in...
It's a nighttime episode of Doctor Who,
It's,
classic Doctor Who, new old Doctor Who show.
It's after 5 p.m., which means it's
It's
cocktail.
6:48.
It's cocktail time, so this is going to be a rather loose episode. We're already encountering... I'm in Vermont right now, my home away from home, which means the audio is probably going to sound fantastic. Apologies in advance. What are you doing? What are you up to?
I'm
You're
at
down
home,
at the beach
but-
for your 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Usually we record 10 a.m., 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Right now we're recording at about 6:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Just about.
We're both lit up on the funny juice, and we're ready to talk about some weird episode
By funny
of 70s
juice, he means
sci-fi.
gasoline. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Anything special going on top of the show?
Nothing's going on. I got nothing going on in my life.
You got so much going on, you just don't know where to begin.
Yeah, I know.
your
That's the problem. I don't even know where to, which personal detail should I let out this time? Is it that my dad told me he went on a date with a 43-year-old woman, and my dad's like 84?
And
Or
you're
85.
not
He's 85.
Much younger
How
than...
weird is that? Yeah, I'm only 41.
Is that a for real thing that happened?
That's a real thing that happened.
Oh,
and I was
man.
thinking it would be like, me going out with like an 85-year-old woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think there is something wrong.
With that. A little bit wrong with that.
I'd like to
nothing
follow
wrong
up
with
my...
it, but
it's
not
a
a whole
weird
lot
thing.
right with
I'm
it,
still
though.
processing it. I'm not sure what that means. But
Hey, listeners, why don't you write in and let us know what you think about...
Expect to hear more about
See,
that.
Normally, it's like a... What do they call it? Like
so
a May...
weird.
Like a May-December relationship where it's younger and older, but I think they're both December. Well,
She's
I
not
don't know.
December.
No, she's definitely August. It's August, December.
She's either got something really wrong with her, or
maybe
there's
your
something
dad's a
wrong with her.
frickin'
You know what I
catch.
mean? I don't know if it's going to be a situation.
Your dad's a catch.
But is it going to be a situation where her cousin shows up? You know what I mean? Some other guy, and he's like, yeah, "I'm the cousin," and then they're just taking stuff out of his house.
Did she immediately ask you to start calling her mom?
No, I have not met.
Because that's a red flag.
I hope that is not a situation that happens where that is a meeting that happens, because I am not prepared for that. But let's talk about Doctor Who. Why bother?
Okay. Let's do that instead.
We could talk about Androids of Tara, or we could talk about whatever that is.
You know what? At this point, I'd kind of almost rather talk about that. But
So
let's
would
just get
I,
into
yeah,
it
but-
then.
Okay, I have nothing else.
All right.
I think we, as always, there's nothing new in the online Doctor Who
There's nothing
streaming
new in the
thing. No
Nope.
BBC News.
It's never going to happen, folks. Just keep renting the DVDs like
Yeah.
the rest of us schmoes to watch these
And
classic
actually,
episodes.
renting the DVDs has proven to be problematic, because our next episode, or I should always say episode, the next story that we're doing, Power of Krull, was not available on Netflix as a DVD. I went to rent The Power of Krull from Netflix DVD, and they do not have it, although it exists, because I borrowed it from a friend who happens to own just about all of them.
So if you want to watch the episode,
And I lent it to you, right? That's how you got it?
to Eric's friend, care of Eric.
Yeah, I just have him lend it to you. But you can buy it. Like if you go to the old DoctorWhoShow.com, you go to our schedule page, there is a link to Amazon to purchase the DVD of Power of Kroll, but you can't rent it from Netflix.
I'm hoping at this point that people have just bought the entire box set for the Key to Time, because,
right.
I mean, you might as well. You get all the DVD extras. There's 2 different versions of the box set. There's the original, and then there's the special edition, has some more features
What
to
else
it.
is in it, do you know?
Just some more featurettes. Just
you know, like
stuff.
the Netflix thing, like they had it at one time. You know, they probably had one copy and some dude broke it and they were like, yeah, no one else is going to want to watch this episode
No one cares.
of Power of Kroll. But anyway, we're not talking about Power of Kroll.
Kroll, right?
Yeah, the Kroll. And did you ever watch that movie?
Kroll.
I was so disappointed in that movie as a kid.
Even as a kid, I was just like, this is not what I wanted it to
I
be.
loved the poster, and for people that aren't aware of it,
cool.
it had it was like a throwing star with knives out of it, and I remember the poster.
It was like if a frisbee had babies with a throwing star.
Looked really cool,
amazing.
and it was some kind of sci-fi thing, and I remember wanting to rent it, and we had a Betamax, which already sets us...
Oh boy.
it was like I had a Betamax, I had a Sega Master System. It was like always on the losing.
You chose the
I was always on the losing
platforms.
end of the format.
Yeah. You have an HD DVD instead.
No, I didn't. By that point, I was like,
That
you know
you
what?
skipped
F
it.
it all. Yeah. But they hardly used the Kroll throwing thing. I remember that was like a disappointment. It was like they used it once at like the end, and it was like, well, what is going on in this movie? But we're not here to talk about Kroll. We're not here to talk about Nick Kroll. Yeah, we're here to talk about Androids of Terror. And unless you have anything, I want you to hit that button, and I want to drop us right into the middle of that planet Terra.
Let's do it.
Whoopee whoop.
Congratulations, Doctor. Thank you. And now, if you will forgive me, gentlemen, I must retire. Good night, gentlemen. Excellent. Farah, bring wine. Do you know, it's quite eerie seeing oneself walk and talk like that. I never thought I'd see that thing going again.
Well, it'll do for now, but if I'd had the proper tools, I could have done a much better job.
But it's good enough to fool Grendel and his men, don't you think so, Zardek?
I hope so, Your Highness, for our sake.
Oh, Zardek, always the pessimist. Thank you, Doctor.
Pleasure.
Zardek.
500 gold pieces.
You wouldn't be interested in permanent employment, would you, Doctor?
No, I'm sorry. I'm otherwise engaged.
Pity. Still, you will stay and drink a toast to our success for tomorrow, won't you?
All right.
One of our local wines, modest, demure, but palatable. Join us, Farah.
Thank you, Your Highness.
You look better without your helmet.
Cooler, anyway.
With your permission, Your Highness. To the King.
To the King.
The King.
Not yet. Tomorrow, perhaps, thanks to the Doctor.
Thank you.
The Doctor.
The Doctor.
Androids of Terra. This is the 4th story in the Key to Time series. The Doctor and Romana land on the planet Terra in order to find the 4th Key to Time. They find the key pretty much right away, but then mayhem ensues when Romana's kidnapped. Androids replace people in a fencing duel to the death.
Literally
I don't know
no
what happened.
problems finding the key at all. It's like within...
No, super
they're like,
easy.
there it
hey
is.
guys, we're just going to
Fantastic.
skip the summary and jump right into the show because this thing...
And this is, well, first off, before we get farther, it's written by
Okay, you're
David
right.
Fisher and directed by Michael Hayes. And did you say the year was
Graham Williams is the
1978?
producer, which is the same as we've had for a while, but I don't remember David Fisher.
No,
or
he wrote,
Michael
David
Hayes
Fisher
from
wrote the
previous.
previous episode we did too. Stones of Blood.
Okay, cool. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, so this is, November, December 1978. So, guys, kind of a historical future episode, kind of mashed into one. We got Romana and the Doctor landing on the planet Terra.
Right, which is an Earth-like planet set in the Middle
very
Ages,
Earth-like.
or not the Middle Ages. I guess it's the Middle Ages.
Renaissance-ish?
The Renaissance.
Yeah,
You have
Renaissance-ish.
like sort
I mean,
of a ren-fair-esque Ted Cruz. That's Ted Cruz is a candidate. Didn't he immediately remind you of Ted Cruz?
But Dad, I'm a vegetarian.
The creep.
Most people do.
Yeah,
that would be Count
Grendel or whatever. Just looks like this weird Ted Cruz that was doing like a Ren Fair. Yeah, so you have him. You have some science fiction part or technology within this civilization too. It's a weird mixed bag. This whole planet, because they're building robots. I think at one point they make a comment that I don't remember what the percentage was, but it seems like most of the population,
90% of the population was decimated. Actually, killed in a plague. So they started making androids to make up for the labor force, but it's only the peasants who learn such skills. So the peasants kind of just made a whole bunch.
Yeah,
of
and that's also what's weird is like the peasant class is the one that has the technology, whereas the aristocracy are sort of
just
the humans,
flounce around,
and they have swords, but the swords are also taser, like electrified. It's this weird mix of technology and feudal sort of whatever. Yeah.
So we start off in the TARDIS. There's this. I love the whole like TARDIS mythology stuff. So they decide they're going to land on Terra. First thing Doctor says pretty much on is you better go change.
He doesn't change.
Lady.
He never changes.
No, of course he doesn't.
Yeah,
Why
she gets to go in that weird thrift store.
The guy looks fantastic.
There's like a thrift store.
She's got to get all dolled
thrift
up.
store in the back of the TARDIS where these racks
that's
of
the thing.
clothes.
So she just opens the door. You get the sense that the TARDIS. Well, you don't get the sense. We're pretty much told throughout the series that the TARDIS is infinite.
Yeah.
It can just keep remaking itself, and it's all these infinite rooms. And yet she opens the door and reaches into basically a walk-in closet. All of the clothes on that rack were alphabetized, so we got to see a Tahitian gown. We got to see just a whole bunch of T's. But she found something for Tara.
She did, yeah. It's something there laid out for her. But I like, before she even does that, her sort of hangout outfit is that white.
Oh, man. From the first time we saw her.
I like her casual wear.
Man, it looks good. It actually is. That looks stunning.
She does not need to change.
Her.
She could just hang out in that casual wear. But he never changes, which I find. He's allowed to wear the same thing, but she's got to fit in.
Yeah. But she finds a nice little satin purple number. Yeah. That apparently
all the kids are
fans
wearing.
Of TARDIS.wikia.com. Yes, it's what everyone on Tara is wearing this season. She actually
designed it, right?
Designed that outfit herself, because what the costumer came up with was itchy and made of tweed. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so that's Mary Tam.
Mary Tam can. She's also a dress maker.
She's a great actress companion. I'm a fan of her.
She's a lady.
But then she ends up getting in that outfit, and again, you mentioned that like purple thing where she looks like she's in Four Non-Blondes. You know what I'm talking about? She's got that like hat.
I
also mentioned Tom.
It looks like she came out of a Tom Petty.
Don't Come Around Here No More.
Tom Petty video.
Ramana edition.
Yeah. Man,
absolutely.
That was a great friggin' video. I'd rather review that video than to review this episode.
They ate her as cake.
They ate her.
Fantastic.
Yep. It was very trippy. The caterpillar. It's a whole Alice in Wonderland motif going on there.
Not unlike the story where Ramana, venturing out of the TARDIS, immediately finds the missing key of time, and then is attacked by a low-rent Chaka.
Oh.
Like, the Chaka would be like, that's a cheap-looking costume. You know what I mean? He's like...
That's great. Come on, guys. Get it together.
She gets attacked by this...
Yeah, that thing was horrible.
This little monkey man. We never see him again. He has nothing to do... These things could be everywhere, but that's all you get.
No, but they're not. They're not everywhere,
guy.
because there's no hostile fauna on Terra, as Romana tells us, and the Count says, "No, I stalked it."
Yeah,
for
Ted
hunting.
Cruz dude.
So he hunts that
he
thing?
He sucks. Like, everything about that guy sucks. I hated him from like the minute I saw him. And again, for us, Dan and I were in the United States, and Ted Cruz is a political figure that just is one of
political
the worst
god.
Human beings alive. Just like a face that you just want to hit it.
It's a punchable face.
I have a face for radio.
A very punchable face, and his words and his ideology is garbage. So immediately I just associated him with Ted Cruz, and he was just so creepy and
Doctor
annoying.
Who political hour.
Yeah, but he just was so creepy. Like, and the fact that when he's carrying her, because Romana hurts
would not
herself,
put her down.
Yeah, he was just a creep. He was a creep.
Okay, so Romana, she twists her ankle-ish, sort of. Not really. She says she's fine, but he picks her up and puts her on a horse.
And before that, too, he recognizes her, right? And we don't know this as viewers,
right?
That she has an uncanny resemblance to the princess, right? This doesn't make a lot of sense.
Not even uncanny, like identical twin.
Yeah. So he
Different
assumes
species.
that she's a robot right away.
Right. Well, yeah.
But he would be the one designing her.
No, not necessarily.
Someone else is just going to...
all the peasantry, not all the peasantry, but the peasantry can make androids. They had to replace all the population, so I'm assuming a lot of people know how to make androids.
They do, but why would they make one of the princess?
Well,
that's his whole plan.
Right.
So it felt a little strange right off the bat. Like, there's a lot of things in this that are like, what? But we'll get to all of those questions.
I hope so.
I felt like watching this, and I didn't do enough research, but it felt like there's almost scenes missing, right? Like, do you remember when they get
overly long to me? So
do you remember when they get poisoned though?
Yes,
they get poisoned and not poisoned. They get knocked out basically.
Drugged, yeah,
they take the good prince away.
Mm-hmm. The real
and
prince.
Then later when we see the real prince, he has an injury that we never see him get.
That's true.
So it's like it's just felt
right. So
like where did that come from? And
he tried to escape or something. I don't know. Yeah. He's
for some reason
stabbed in the side. Or
yes,
the arm
he's about to die, and the whole thing.
But not he's stabbed and made to be sweaty.
Why did they cut that part? Or why did they not show that part?
Sweaty.
I don't know.
I just want to know why he's drenched the whole time. It's really unappealing.
Yeah. But to back up, so Romana as the four non-blondes
attacked by a rabid Chaka.
Yes.
He picks her. What's his name? Count Grendel picks her up, puts her on a horse, going to take her back to his castle. So he comes to the castle. The gates open, and then there's Hodor waiting for him.
Yes, that's right. They have their own Hodor. I had that in my notes too, as well. Yeah. A smarter Hodor.
Smart.
It was.
Was he smarter though?
Well, probably not.
No,
not really.
He didn't hold the door. He opened the door. So we see him at the beginning. So he's one of the first characters we're kind of introduced to. He actually has a speaking role. He says master twice.
Right.
We don't see him for a long time throughout the rest. I mean, he plays a pivotal part later.
He does. Like, he's sort of the servant, hunchback helper. But yeah, there's a lot of things with this story. I wasn't a huge fan of this story.
I couldn't tell. You were hiding it really well. You're keeping your cards close to the vest.
I didn't think it was bad. Like, there was parts of it I certainly liked.
Good.
It wasn't great. Yeah.
No.
It wasn't nearly as good as some of the other ones, but yeah. So we also at what point the doctor also meets the Errol Flynn good prince, right? I'm getting the order probably mixed up, but
no, you're right. He meets first. So the doctor says, "You, Romana, you go ahead and you go find the key to time. I've been so busy this whole time.
Yeah, he wants to go fishing.
I want to go fishing and just relax." So he takes his fishing rod, he goes off.
And she goes to look for the key.
So she finds it almost immediately, which is another one of those, like, did they just tack on this whole key to time thing onto this out of the blue? Like, it was a completely separate episode. Like, oh yeah, we really got to stick to the story arc.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because they just dispense with it so quickly. I mean, it comes back later in the episode when someone else finds it and blah blah. But it just seemed like
it doesn't have much of a reason.
No
for
significance,
being there, right.
Which is kind of a theme to this whole. Like, this is one of the first, if not, was the first one we reviewed where it's a multi-part.
I think it's the first one where it's the whole season.
Yeah, it's definitely the first one. It's the whole season, and that's something that we see in like the 2005.
And no Black Guardian again. Like, there's nothing.
No White Guardian, no Black Guardian, there's nothing.
Thing happening.
Completely just disconnected. It's just very strange because I'm used to, if you're gonna have a continuing story, to actually continue the story. Okay, so
right, so the doctor meets up fishing, even before the good prince. He meets his crew, and it's like one guy that
Farah and Zadok.
Yeah, who sort of hates him.
His man at arms and his head swordsman.
Yeah, and they take him to the prince, and then there's also negotiation going on between the doctor, where the doctor actually talks himself down from 1,000 gold pieces to 500.
That was cute. Okay, that was actually cute. He says,
"Yeah,
no, it was just fun." He was like, "What? 1,000 gold pieces? You think you can buy me for money? 500." It was just one of those. I guess,
yeah.
You're the doctor. You're adorable. It's fine.
Money is meaningless to you. It's great.
Right.
But in that one scene, at one point, the doctor does go to leave, and the door like opens, and there's a guard there. Do you remember this part? And he's facing. It's like when the door was closed, is the guard just facing a closed door the entire time?
And as soon as the door opens, it's like
his poor existence of just facing this closed door, and that's all he knows is. Well, I guess everyone's walking around as robots with a flash sword, so I guess it's a pretty lousy planet.
Yep.
So so then their whole thing is they've got the prince who's going to be coronation's become, and the only way that he could become king is if he shows up at this place. So they're building
at a particular time. Yeah. So that it's designated time that the prince has to be present, and he's going to be crowned king.
Right.
So
and he fears his own assassination.
Right. I think there's been assassination attempts on his life. So their idea is to create an android duplicate of him who
wears a gold smoking jacket, which is very, very nice to look at.
It's really nice. Yeah. They didn't make it very far with that android before the doctor showed up, did they?
No, they didn't have the language circuits down.
They got that face dead on, though. They got the face worked out.
Depends on the camera angle on the scene. Because sometimes the face is really not right.
Not at all. Well, they shot it from a very low angle at that first time, so you couldn't really tell how bad it was.
If anyone's impaling him in the chest, doesn't even look like him.
Face is not so good. Nope. The real prince is much sweatier than that.
Sweaty people in this whole episode.
So negotiating this whole thing, can the doctor fix him? The doctor kept calling the android George.
Yes.
I mean, it was just this cute
fine.
Thing.
And that little Dutch boy looking guy with his helper, he was
that wasn't bad.
Pain in the ass. Yeah. He's always trying to kill the doctor the whole time.
Yeah. K9 came to his rescue at one point, though, so that was cool. So they're toasting the plan. The doctor's going to help them create the android and stay with them in case anything goes wrong with the android to make sure that it's going to work, to blah, 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 make sure the prince doesn't get killed before the coronation. They're toasting his health, and they'll get poisoned.
Right, Ted Cruz shows up, poison them, and this is the part we were talking about before. That's actually a good cliffhanger, right? So they all look like they die. We start out in the second episode, and the prince is gone. Everyone else is coming to the little Dutch boy guys is like, you killed the prince to the doctor. Yeah. They're all sort of fine, though. It's just like they were knocked out, and now they're coming to. And when we see the prince in the cell, he's going to die. Like, that's the whole thing is Romana even goes up to him, and she's like, we got to help this guy. He's going to die. All you need to do is X, Y, and Z. But what happened to him? Like, what... They stabbed him for some reason. Like, it doesn't. It's just weird. Felt a little strange.
You would assume that since they drugged him and he was unconscious, they could just drag him to a cell. But I guess they stabbed him for good measure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's very weird.
Was it maybe?
I didn't know if there was a scene missing or whatever. But we do get to see Ted Cruz in his casual pink sash. I had that in my notes. He's got like a pink cummerbund or something on at one point when he's sort of in his evil.
He changes it based on his mood, you think?
Maybe. I think so. That was sort of a mood thing, and he was sort of in Romana.
Yep. Okay, so that's the beginning of the second part of this.
And then we also meet the princess, who we mentioned looks exactly like Romana. I actually thought that was cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool because...
Why is that cool? Why is that cool?
Just playing with identity, and, she looks like this person, and they could switch... I don't know.
No, I mean, that's the reason I don't like the movie Dave. I mean, I love the movie Dave.
I never saw the movie Dave.
I don't like the movie. Are you kidding me?
To you on that one.
Would you? Okay,
that's Kevin Kline.
We're gonna go watch the movie. Yes,
I didn't see
it. And Sigourney Weaver and Frank Langella as the big bad. It's a classic. Okay.
All right, everybody, pause. We're all gonna watch the movie Dave. We should actually sit there and watch it. Do
We'll be right back.
But anyway,
and we're back. We just watched the movie Dave,
and it sucks. No, I did not watch the movie Dave.
But I mean, it's the Patty Duke identical cousins thing. Okay, so fine. Not only is Romana is identical to Strella, who's the princess. Princess? Is she?
Yes, she is. I think they refer to it as a princess.
I know. So the prince is going to marry the princess.
It doesn't make sense. Like, what is the lineage and who is the former king? And right. It's very weird.
Apparently, Grendel is the prince's cousin, so he actually wants to take the throne from the prince by marrying the princess. But it's not a lineage thing; it's a marriage. I don't know.
Here's the other thing: like
convoluted.
Ted Cruz thinks that Romana is a robot, or he thinks that she's an android at first.
Right.
And then he's going to dismantle her, which doesn't make
he's
sense.
He's not going to dismantle her. Madame Lamia is.
Who I thought was
Lamia.
I thought Madame Lamia was also a robot for so long in this thing, and then I was like, oh no, she's not a robot at all.
No, those spit curls are definitely android though.
But why not? If he really
Frau
thinks that
Blücher.
she's a robot and the robot could help them, why would he take her apart? Why not just reprogram
He's going to disassemble her and cannibalize her for parts.
And then he decides that he wants to keep her head. He's like, oh, we should keep the head.
That was
creepy. Yeah.
I don't know why he wanted to keep the head. Actually, I know why he wanted to keep the head.
It was not
horrible.
right. It was not right at all.
It's not okay.
But yeah, Madam, what's her name? Madam Lamia. I thought she was just a robot doctor, and I had my notes like robot doctor.
No, but she's a robot doctor.
But speaking of which, this another thing with that he is mad. Ted Cruz is mad at the doc. I'm only gonna refer to him as Ted Cruz.
Grendel.
He's mad at her because I think he said he once showed her, quote, a courtesy.
That's what he calls
which I think is a dick pic. Like, this is just he had sent her a dick pic and it went wrong. But he's like, yeah, she's just mad because I once showed her a courtesy. You creep. Yeah. Like, what was?
Yep. She's totally in love with him. People are in love with Ted Cruz.
It's all very strange.
Right? No, he showed her courtesy. I'm disgusted.
Why do I have a note that says Doctor and Coronation Mission? His crew wears Tara's dumbest hats. What does that mean?
Well,
do people wear a lot of hats?
When we're watching this and everyone's getting together for the coronation, it's this weird mixture of, so you have the futuristic, they're all inside a castle, so there's this medieval Renaissance-y thing, but then people are wearing turbans.
Yeah, I guess that's why I had Tara's dumbest hats, because everyone had stupid hats.
But everyone, it was just like this mishmash of like, okay, these are, I guess, some costumes we could use. Yeah. I guess it works. Everything's shiny and lame and sateen. But
we also have another character that we should touch on, which is the guy that's sort of in charge of the rules of the planet. I don't know what word to use for him, but he's the one that sort of oversees the transitions of power, and he's able to sort of legitimize whoever the ruler is. Is he incredibly dumb, or is he just easily bought, as it were? Because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Because at first, the Ted Cruz and him have this conversation where he kind of says, like, I want you to oversee this marriage between the prince and the princess, and then the prince is going to die, and you're going to see my...
Well, that's later.
Yeah.
That's later. So,
you think at that point, you're like, oh, okay, the guy knows he's sketchy. But then later, the same thing happens again. He's like so naive about the thing. You're like, well, wait, maybe he's just incredibly dumb and easily misled.
So that's the Archimandrite. He's the religious leader guy. So he's going to oversee the wedding at first. And if the prince doesn't show up on time, Grendel, Ted Cruz, assumes that, okay, he's going to offer it to me. I'll refuse once. I don't dare refuse twice because he's going to offer it. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So that was his plan at the outset. Then later on, yes, he says, you're going to need to perform 2 weddings. Once with the prince and the princess, but he's going to die, and you're going to oversee my wedding to the princess. Yeah, you would think.
And plus, he's already witnessed an attempt.
Maybe I should.
Yeah. Do you remember he at that point? He's already witnessed an attempted assassination, right? Because that was the previous scene when they had the robot good prince sitting on the throne, and the princess came,
and then a robot princess
who the doctor was like, "It's a robot."
Hits her on the head with a staff. That's the bad end of the second cliffhanger. It's not so good.
I'm trying real hard to hold on to this one, but
wait. So where did that one come from? So was Madame Lamia was able to make
what I'm talking about.
Princess Android that quickly?
No, I thought they already had it. I thought they already had built it, which is why it didn't make any sense for like him to think that it wasn't his own. Like he would think,
and if they,
you know what I mean? Like he would think it was his.
Yeah, it's like, how does she get out? How does she get out? Yeah, no,
it didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Right. So, but okay, let's imagine his plan went off as planned. So the prince is sitting on the throne. He's going to have the coronation. The robot princess, android, they're different. Android princess comes in. she's going to assassinate him with what we now know is basically a laser beam shoots out of her
chest.
We've seen this.
Or midsection.
What's the point of that?
I don't know what the point
is.
Was
it to make them think that the princess actually murdered?
Doesn't make any sense at all. Like,
why not just kill? Why not, instead of drugging the prince, poison him to death? And then there's no one to succeed. So then his cousin, Grendel Ted Cruz, could have just taken the throne.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, if he didn't...
Instead of having an android come in and shoot him, which no one's going to think was the actual... If it was an android that's going to kill him, make the android, like, choke him to death. A thing that a human being could... Or whatever they are, humanoid could do.
Not just shoot a laser.
As opposed to it being an obviously... a tool that did this, so you have to find the...
It's just it's overly complicated. The whole thing is very overly complicated.
No. I am fine with Machiavellian schemes. It can be a triple backflip Lutz. I don't get... It could be super complicated. It just has to make sense. And this did not. There was no... The end game just made...
We also get a big sword fight between the Doctor and...
Oh, you're going to skip ahead to the 15-minute
what else do we have in between?
I mean, it was a 15-minute sword fight.
But we're basically on episode 3. I don't really remember. I don't have very many notes for episode 3.
There's stuff. You forgot. So, Madame Lamia is going to sell out Ted Cruz because she actually wants to be with him. So she's going to get the Doctor to come in and make everything better so that he goes into exile and she can go into exile with him. Because he's going to have no one else, so we might as well bang this chick he once showed his dick to. So...
You just got
an explicit
You got
episode.
very classy very quickly.
Hey, you start with the dick pics. So, sorry, dick pic is not racy.
No, dick pic. Well, it depends on the angle of the shot and the lighting. It's all about the lighting.
That's true.
That's like it could be
exactly. It's like a maple.
Oh, it's black and white. Yeah, exactly. There's a whip sticking out of a man's rectum. It's art.
Why does everyone go to that one first for maple? There's a lot of other erotic photos. All right, so
welcome to Ion Maple.
So Lamia is going to get the Doctor to come and make everything better. Blah blah blah. She's going to get to go, but so she sets up a meet with the Doctor at this pavilion.
Also weird. Is this the part where they cut out the back of the whole of the place? Is that the scene? Okay,
yes. Okay, so they're going to meet the Doctor at midnight to something doesn't make sense. They show up in the middle of the day, and the Doctor's there in the middle of the day. It's just everyone's there 8 hours early. Just cut. All right, whatever. So they send in a robotic Romana. So
a voice activated Romana, right?
There's Romana. There's Strella. There's Android Strella. There's Android Romana.
Yeah, it's
there's so much crap happening here. But yes, you're right. So she's voice activated. Once the Doctor's going to say hello, whatever, she's going to blast him. Which didn't matter because, well, what if the Doctor doesn't say anything? We've trained the android to kill him in other ways.
They have that right. They had that line in there.
Just dumb.
What's funny is because that particular scene I was watching and my daughter was sitting next to me and she actually looked over to me and said, well, what happens if the Doctor doesn't talk? And moments later she says, what happens if the Doctor doesn't talk? And they explain it. She's like, oh, okay.
So you're saying your daughter wrote the episode.
They pretty much wrote it for her. But it was all just so...
Here's what's fun. Here's a fun thing. The android Romana goes in with Madame Lamia to kill the Doctor. I thought the Doctor was an android at that point because the way he was moving was very strange. It was a strange point. Anyway, so the Lamia goes in there. She's gonna take a shot at him, but he ducks and misses. And then Lamia is walking behind android Romana, steering her into position. Like she's totally walking her around to get another shot at.
They could have just shot him with a gun. Just have a gun.
Just shot him.
Then a gun.
Shivved him. Anything. Punched him, knocked him down, anything, but you had to use this ridiculous method of assassination. K9 shoots Romana, android, so that was fun, getting to see Romana get shot over and over by K9. I actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit.
And then
they escape by
Ted Cruz
whatever,
is
getting
outside
out through the
with
back.
The rest of his crew, and they're going to burn the place down or whatever. And then they cut the hole out and run out the back, and it was a hard go. But then we have the big fourth episode of the fourth part has this giant,
big fourth episode
sword fight. And the one thing that bothered me about the sword fight was Romana says, "You're going to fight the best swordsman on Tara." How does she know who the best swords? There's been no talk of him being a great swordsman before, but somehow she, you know, this guy's the best swordsman of Tara. I don't know how she knew that. Maybe she was reading the visitor center guide or something when they landed.
Could be. I'm actually thinking that Ted Cruz is the one that says that he's the best
I would
swordsman
believe.
in Tara.
Like, they should have had him say that at least once.
He's inflating his own ego there. Because the Doctor, the Doctor's obviously this character that, you know, always surprises you. He's been alive at this point for several hundred years, and now he learns the stuff. And
it might as well be John Pertwee doing judo against, you know, someone.
Right. Totally same thing. So but it's just the longest,
it's a little long,
boringest sword fight. Okay, so here's some more creepy fun. So the Doctor's having a sword fight with Grendel. Romana slips out to go rescue Strella. Then she's followed by creepy blonde guy that we haven't really seen much before, but just someone in Grendel's posse goes and follows Romana out. Romana meets Strella, tells her what's going on, and going to free her, and then he comes into the room leering at Strella. So was he about to rape Strella? He was going to rape Strella, and then Romana,
I don't know if it was going there,
it was
but
gross.
That was weird.
It was not good.
Not a good scene.
No, but then Romana gets to hit her with a painting.
That was
with a painting, and
somehow he gets knocked out with a piece of canvas. I mean, he doesn't quite get knocked out. It's like it's very comical.
He gets restrained by the canvas.
So they knock it over his head, and he can't move his arms because the wood part of the canvas.
That
was so goofy.
That whole setup was clearly so that you could have Mary Tam playing both characters in the same scene at the same time to show how freaking cool it was that they could actually pull that off poorly. But it's fine.
Yeah.
Because you had this weird cutscene with the prince and the prince android where they're in the same scene at the same time, so you can kind of, wow, this is, I guess maybe in 78 for BBC.
It looked
that
cool.
Was
like,
really impressive.
It was
fine. It didn't. It looked realistic.
I would never have said, it didn't look like off or anything. And even like earlier on in the first episode or the second episode, when you see the robot prince for the first time, he does the good evening, gentlemen. He gets up and leaves, and he's standing right next to him.
Right.
That's fine. I mean, I guess that did impress people. They were like, "Oh, hey, well,
I guess
it's the same guy twice."
Oh, also, the Doctor made the android too smart. That was kind of funny. You can't have him. Yes. Well, of course he is. I programmed him, and you can't have him be too
funny.
He kept making all these references to like you can't trust an android. Well, some androids would say the same thing about people. He said that a couple of times. Made these weird references to. I don't. Okay, it's just throwaway stuff.
It was a weird episode. I can't even remember how to.
Okay, so they fight.
The bad guy gets away too. The Ted Cruz does escape and live.
He jumps into the moat and gets away.
And then they leave.
I was reading on Wikia that apparently there's a novelization that this character appears in later on, so he does continue in the canon. Yeah, he just gets away. That's fine, I guess. Whatever. So he gets away. The prince goes and finds.
That's
Strella
another thing that I didn't like.
Oh! Wait, sorry. I just have to say this was really gross too. So the prince comes in and finds Strella in her prison cell, kisses her, real big, wet, gross kiss. Strella, you're safe, and you're real.
Yeah, it was weird, very creepy. But here's the other thing: like to stick on that couple. When we first see the prince, he doesn't even mention Strella. If she's a prisoner of this monster, like, why isn't that his whole thing, that the love of his life is held captive and he wants to rescue her? It's all about his coronation.
No, because he didn't actually know where she was.
What is she just
in the beginning? They say she's missing.
Nobody knows. He's not even looking for her.
That's right. I'm guessing he looked around a little bit, couldn't see her, and was like, "All right, we'll just
I don't know." When I was watching, it just felt like halfway through they created a love story between the two of them that was not.
Yes, that was not clear from the outset at all. It was just that the princess he was supposed to marry was missing, but there was no like true love thing there. And then so they all meet up, everyone's reunited, and K-9's floating in a boat at the end with a weird Tom Baker laugh at the end.
They're like, "Where's K-9?" Because he told earlier on, he was like, "Wait here for me," and then it was a little. The whole episode was off.
Just not.
I didn't love it.
Great. Not. I mean, it wasn't
not bad.
bad.
And the acting, I think, the acting was
episodes.
good.
It's just.
I think like all the actors and actresses and everything did a great job.
Fine.
I just felt like the story was a little bit underwhelming and just overly complicated and sort of all over the place.
The whole thing was an allusion to a book, The Prisoner, of Zenda,
which wasn't
I've
familiar
never heard
with.
of.
So maybe if I was, I would enjoy it more.
Yeah, maybe it's a really well-known thing at the time, but they actually, some working titles were like The Androids of Zenda, The Androids of Zend. So that's
the
what they were
title's
going.
weird. Like The Androids of Tara, I had always assumed there was someone named Tara, and it was going to be all copies.
And she had a whole bunch of androids.
Right.
Actually, that's a pretty good story. Go on.
I want hold on. Wait a minute. But yeah, and again, I'm down on this thing. I just don't think it's that great, but it's not bad either. So it's just sort of.
Also, it has additional pressure on it because we're supposed to be we're more than halfway through the Key of Time series, and we don't really know anything else about that story. Just okay, now they found 4 pieces, and they found this one as a complete throwaway in the first 10 minutes of the episode. So. It's even more disappointing. If it was just like a standalone little thing, then okay, maybe it wouldn't. I wouldn't dislike it as much as I did, but there's too much riding on it.
Well, the next one is The Power of Kroll, which I believe is the penultimate episode of this whole thing, and that is written by Robert Holmes. So maybe that will be good.
I tend to like the Bobby Holmes episodes.
Right. We'll see. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about with
this one?
Androids?
Nope. I think we got all the androids covered.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we both sort of have the same opinion on this
I wish
thing.
we loved it, but
I actually watched it almost twice. I didn't finish it quite the second time.
Oh.
And then right before we started to record, I'm like, I don't even really remember anything about
it is
this.
super
You
forgettable.
were sending me stuff about it. I was I know I watched it twice, and I can't.
I want to make a weird admission here. First of all, this was a really gifable episode, so go to the DoctorWhoShow.com episode page for this one because we're going to have plenty there. So I was spending most of my time doing that while watching the episodes. But then the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the last episode, I literally watched it at 1.5 times speed. I got through that sword fight so much faster because nothing happened. Yeah, and I never do that. Because you lose pacing, you lose timing for jokes, you lose all that, but I just couldn't handle it. So that's how I felt.
Yeah, some of these sort of action scenes do go on too long, like the canine verse parrot scene or whatever. That just kept going on and on and on and on.
I, in retrospect, in comparison, love that scene.
What, compared to this one, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So
so there's that.
We're both on the same page.
We got them all.
If you want to follow along with us, our next one, as we said, is The Power of Kroll. You have to buy the DVD. If you're going to buy the DVD, please go.
We
to the
don't recommend you finding it online in some pirated format. We do not recommend that, but it's probably out there.
I'm sure you could, but if you're going to buy it,
That'd be horrible. Nope.
Go to the old DoctorWhoShow.com and click on the schedule page, and you will find a link to the episode Power of Kroll, and that will give us a little bit of something. That we have an Amazon affiliate link on there.
Get absolutely nothing. What I'd really love is for people to write in. If you are listening to this series and have any feedback for us, positive or negative for Eric, positive for me, feel free to write us in. What is that email address you got there?
We have the old Doctor Who Show at gmail.com, and the old Doctor Who Show promise, no matter what you ask us, we have to answer it on air.
We will. It's like Truth or Dare, but with only dares. Wait, no.
Wait, what?
So there's that.
You can also go to the old DoctorWhoShow.com and click on subscribe to us on iTunes, and please leave us a review so that we can hopefully get more reviews.
That doesn't matter.
Naturally, that would follow.
Guys, you guys are voyeurs, and this is really just for Eric and I. So I'm glad you're here, but it's fine if you're not. Also, you can, if you want to keep up with me and all the whatever I do, the 3 weeks between episodes, I'm on Twitter at DanJNJ, also online at DanJNJ.com.
Yeah, and you can find me at ericgrissom.com, and all my stuff is there. And we're best friends.
Forever.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant us in the audience.
You.
Because I'm best friends.
I'm talking about the audience.
The audience.
You. Yeah,
I barely even know you.
Fans at best. I mean, every 3 weeks we're like, oh, this guy. What are we going to talk about? But yeah, so we said Power of Kroll, that is going up. Our episode should be going up on July 27th, so you have plenty of time between now and then to find it. Yep. After that is the Armageddon Factor, and we are finally through with this Key of Time.
Finally through. Maybe we'll actually get to understand what the Key of Time is all about. I can't wait to find out.
It's very ambitious that they did this full season, which is great. But it's you introduce these characters of the White Guardian and the Black Guardian, which for me, and we had difference of opinion, I think, on this a little bit. I thought that was cool, and I would like to know more about.
I thought it could be cool, but there was nothing that happened.
Yeah,
so nothing's cool yet.
They're not building them up into anything other than a guy in a wicker chair that was drinking sweet tea in some weird.
That's not nothing.
Yeah, I guess that's. But we should have seen the Black Guardian by now.
Something. I don't care. Just anything.
He's got to show up in Power of Kroll or Armageddon Factor.
Russell T Davies would have solved this so much better.
Oh.
That's one of my dogs. I guess it's time for us to take the dogs out.
The old take the dog out cue. So anyway,
all right, guys.
Thank you. Please rate us, and hope you're all well.
We love you.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Don't come around here no more. Don't come around here no more. Whatever you're looking for. Hey! Don't come around here no more. I'm giving up. Stop.
Where's my robot, you know?